This video is sponsored by athleticcases.com. Basketball, baseball, football, or soccer, no matter what the sport, you guys can now rock your favorite player on the back of your phone. Use the promo code ZachLee for 10% off your order. Links are in the description box below. Yo, what is up guys? It's me, Zach Lee. So Larry Nance Jr. said something pretty interesting yesterday, and it reminded me of something that I've been meaning to talk about with you guys for the longest time. And that is, why is it that some players struggle to play next to LeBron James? Why can they look really good somewhere else, or at least good somewhere else, and then right when they start playing next to LeBron James, they no longer look like the same player? And I think I know the exact answer to why this is. Alright, to start off, here is what Larry Nance Jr. was quoted saying to one of his former Lakers teammate Josh Hart yesterday when it comes to what it takes to play next to LeBron James. He told his good friend Hart to be ready for the scrutiny that comes with being James's teammate. Yeah, you gotta have thick skin, said Nance. When I first read that, the first thing that came to my mind was, does he mean that you have to have thick skin, kind of like when you were playing next to Kobe Bryant? Because Kobe Bryant would of course chew you up and spit you out at any moment. He would call you trash to your face on a daily basis, since that's just the type of leader that Kobe was. But then you think about it, and that doesn't really sound right, does it? Since unlike Kobe, we rarely ever see LeBron James get up into the grill of one of his teammates. We don't see him yell at his team or his teammate that often. Granted, it definitely has happened some in the past, and we all know that in the finals, he punched a chalkboard in the locker room and hurt his hand. But for the most part, LeBron James has tried to be a more uplifting leader, when even if you as his teammate truly suck, like you are the absolute worst, he'll be the last person to say that. He'll be the last person to throw you under the bus. So why on earth exactly do you need thick skin to play with LeBron James, someone who prefers to lift you up instead of tear you down? Well, actually, it's not LeBron James's fault at all, but it more so has to do with the attention that you get when you play with LeBron James, and 95% of the time that's not going to be good attention. Think about it, how many times as we as fans and the media as well mock and ridicule these players that play alongside LeBron James to no end, almost on a daily basis. J.R. Smith, trash. Tristan Kardashian, trash. George Hill, once he got to Cleveland, completely useless. I can't think of a single good thing that he did for that team. Rodney Hood, once he got to the Cavs up until the last couple of games of the finals, it didn't matter. Trash. Jordan Clarkson, once he got in the Cavs, well, I didn't even think it was possible to be so trash, especially in the playoffs. And even Kevin Love, to an extent, during his 3 years playing alongside LeBron James. Granted, I still believe part of it had to do with the Cavs not utilizing him correctly, basically turning him to a glorified Ryan Anderson. But still, we all know that he struggled playing next to LeBron James for the past 3 years. And I think the real reason that a lot of those players struggled to be themselves once they got to Cleveland was because the spotlight was simply too bright for them, and the negative attention that they were getting was way too much for them to handle. Think about it, Rodney Hood came from Utah. Sure, us as fans of course knew who Rodney Hood was. We thought of him as an up-and-coming shooting guard in the NBA. He was a really solid player, could easily start on a majority of NBA teams. No one had anything negative to say about Rodney Hood whatsoever. So he goes from an environment like that to playing alongside LeBron James, where everything you do is put under a microscope. If you have a bad game, you're going to hear about it. There's no escaping it. You might hear about it for days and days and days. Same thing with Jordan Clarkson, kinda. Granted, he did have a little bit of a bigger stage in Los Angeles compared to Rodney Hood in Utah, but for the most part, no one really cared when Jordan Clarkson had a bad game for the Los Angeles Lakers, because the Los Angeles Lakers were a bad team at the time. No one was expecting anything out of them, so if they lose, it's like whatever. But for the majority of us fans, we respected Jordan Clarkson as a player, one of the best six men in the NBA, and I personally thought that he'd one day go on to win Sixth Man of the Year for sure, no doubt. All of a sudden, now he's playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers, has a couple of bad games, and the media and us fans absolutely tear him apart for it, and that for sure isn't something that he's used to. And the exact same thing can be said about a player like George Hill, who actually on the court looked terrified to do anything at all, because he knew that if he messed up, he would not hear the end of it, so he would rather just avoid the ball completely, trying to remove himself out of the play. Like, he would defend himself using the defender's body just so the ball hopefully doesn't get past to him. That's how terrified George Hill looked to be on the court playing next to LeBron James. When all these players aren't used to being scrutinized, they do not have thick enough skin. Everything that we say, everything the media says about them, it sinks in and they start to question themselves. Their confidence goes to an all-time low and it affects the way that they play on the court. That's why all the guys that were traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers mid-season looked so bad. I mean, Nance Jr was still, you know, he was all right on most nights, but then again, he wasn't like anything special either, but you get the point. And also, to prove this point even more, just take a listen to a quote from Rodney Hood during the NBA playoffs this past year. At times when I may lose a little bit of confidence because of playing time or whatever, I look back to my Utah highlights a lot on YouTube just to remind myself that this was this season when I did those things. Man's confidence was so low. He was so low from the things that us in the media had been saying about him that he had to go to YouTube and watch his own highlights from earlier this season just to remind himself that he can play basketball. If that's not mentally destroyed, I don't know what is. We as fans in the media legit mentally crippled some of those players. And this also brings me to another point that I want to make, something else that I want to talk about. And that is why LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers surrounded him with the players that they chose to surround him with. There is no question that the Lakers made some pretty interesting moves this offseason, signing Rajon Rondo, Lance Stevenson, JaVale McGee, and now Michael Beasley as well. We as fans have already proclaimed this team to be the mean team just because of the personalities and maybe the egos that those players have and how they're going to mesh. It's going to be interesting, that's for sure. But realistically, we know the Lakers aren't stupid. We know LeBron James isn't stupid. There is a deeper reason why they specifically chose those type of players. And the reason is actually quite simple. It's because all those guys have extremely thick skin. They're not going to be affected by what the outside world says, what others think about them. Mainly because people have been saying negative things, making fun of them, mocking them, ridiculing them their entire career. And that means that now they're playing alongside of LeBron James in LA, that the scrutiny from the media and us fans won't affect them whatsoever. They'll still be able to play their game. They're going to be the exact same players playing with LeBron that they have been playing without LeBron their entire career. Unlike players like Rodney Hood, Jordan Clarkson, and George Hill back on the Cleveland Cavaliers. However, that being said, the jury is still out on the young core of the Los Angeles Lakers and how they will be able to handle the pressure that comes with playing alongside LeBron. Players like Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, Brandon Ingram, and Kyle Kuzma. I do want to say that I'm not really too worried about how Lonzo is going to handle this pressure, mainly because of his dad. Lonzo Ball had tons and tons of pressure on him last season because of how much his dad talked him up heading into the NBA draft and into the season as a whole. He's already used to these big pressure situations, and if I'm going to be even more honest, I think that's one of the things that LeBron James likes so much about Lonzo Ball. He knows that Lonzo is going to be able to handle playing next to him. As far as Ingram, Kuzma, and Hart though, it's going to be interesting to see how they adapt. Now, I will say that I don't think it's going to affect them as badly as it did some of the players on the Cleveland Cavaliers, mainly because they will have a much better support system in LA than they had in Cleveland. Once again, the Lakers added all those veteran guys who won't give in to the media and the fans and what we are saying about them. So they're going to be able to help the younger guys get the same mentality, adapt to the situation. Back in Cleveland, Jordan Clarkson and Rodney Hood, they didn't have anyone to help them along the way besides maybe LeBron James. So the extra guidance for the Lakers young core should go a long way. And I do also want to point out though that now that LeBron James is out of Cleveland, I do expect a lot of those players that were playing so terribly next to LeBron James to look like their old selves without LeBron James. Jordan Clarkson is going to look good again. Rodney Hood's going to look good again. Kevin Love, he could be a legit all-star again. And George Hill shouldn't play like he is absolutely terrified. And if that's the case, then who knows? The Cleveland Cavaliers might not be as bad as we think they are about to be. And once again, that will be to no fault of LeBron James. So if the Cleveland Cavaliers do come out looking good next year, don't say that LeBron was holding those players back, because he really wasn't. We as the fans in the media constantly trashing on these players is what was holding them back. We mentally destroyed them. Yeah, we just mentally destroyed them. Anyways, that is going to do it for this video, guys. Let me know what you think about it down in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications so you don't miss out on future videos. Thank you once again for watching. You guys already know that you are the real MVPs. And until next time, I am out of here. Peace.